Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Adobe Live. This week I was joined by Jason Grant, our resident Adobe expert, who took us through the latest updates in Adobe Premiere and After Effects. We hope you enjoy. Hi everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. I'm your host this afternoon, Flynn Tracy, and I'm here with Jason Grant.
Hello everyone.
How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
Welcome back to the show.
Awesome. It's always awesome to be here.
Yeah.
And we've got some really good stuff to show today, so it's very exciting. Today, a special one just focused on video.
Awesome, which is pretty exciting. So we're going to show a little bit of After Effects, a little bit of Premiere.
That's correct, yeah. So a couple of big updates through After Effects, which we'll go through. Mm-hmm. One huge one.
Yeah.
And then there's a few ones that we're going to go through in Premiere Pro. We've picked the 5 best ones, I think, for now, but there is a whole lot available out there to keep, especially our video crew here, keep them happy as well.
Yeah, our whole production team was really excited and clapping and whistling at some of these changes. Well, not quite, but they were excited. They were the production level of excited. They were just smiling slightly.
Yes.
So welcome back, everyone. So you can log in to the chat if you have questions throughout. We're probably going to spend about the first half on After Effects.
Yeah, we'll try, yeah.
And then we'll sort of do the second half in Premiere. So to avoid confusion, if you have any questions, make sure you ask the After Effects questions first, and then Premiere as we get stuck in. Please say hello. We always like to see who's out there in the chat, in chat land. So you can log in with your Adobe ID if you're new to Adobe Live. So why don't we get straight stuck into it?
Oh, yeah, beautiful. So what I'm going to do, the first one that has come through for After Effects, and a huge one. It was put in a sneak about 2 years ago in Adobe Max.
So sneak is when they sort of show you what they're working on in the background?
Yeah, or just even ideas or concepts.
Right.
So this one, I believe it was called Project Cloak at the time.
Right.
So if people are aware of it, and a lot of people are, they do know it, but you would know it even from Photoshop. So it's called Content Aware Fill.
Yeah, so this has been highly sought after edition.
Yeah. Well, again, I think there was a recent coffee cup that did appear in a TV show recently that shouldn't have. So this is where Content Aware Fill comes into play.
Yeah, and that was edited out pretty quickly, wasn't it?
Yes.
Hey, everyone in the chat. Good to see you. From Adelaide, Festus, welcome back. Good to see you again. New Zealand in the house. Very, very good. Scott, nice to see you there. Graham. Babitha, nice to see you there. So if you guys do have any questions, feel free to ask away.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I go through this one, Content Aware Fill, there's 3 options to it, and I'll show you examples of all 3 options. I'm going to just build out one option. So the first one, and possibly the main one, is with Content Aware Fill. So you can see over here on the far right, we got the Content Aware Fill panel. So it's not a filter, it's a panel itself. So it's good to just be aware of that if you're wondering where it is. And the 3 options that we will go through today is Object, Surface, and Edge Blend. And I'll show you examples of how they are used in each sort of circumstance.
Cool.
So today here we have our footage. So if I go through my footage and I let this play out, render it out, you see the nice bike going down the road, having a good old time by himself. The actual original footage, so if I go back to the footage, it actually has a car that's going along with him. So, so I thought today I can always re-render out that car, but it has been done before. So I think what might be best is if I put the car away, leave the car there, and I might actually render out the bicycle.
Okay.
So some people will be quite happy about that because he's not using the bike lane. So, but let's not go into that and go deep into that. So before you actually render out, what we have to do is build a mask. So we need to make a transparency into the layer, and then the Content Aware will actually work behind that.
Okay.
So think of it. You've got quick example. You've got 25 frames a second here. So what it's going to do is make a PNG for every frame.
Right.
So good to be aware that it's going to chew up some of your memory.
Yeah.
So you can show this, and I will show where you can actually store this and make sure you link to it, so it makes it a lot more easier. But time saving is huge.
Right, yeah.
So straight up, I'm going to build out my mask here. Oops, actually, I'm not
Is it
a mask. Yes, he's not a mask, is he? Okay, I need to make sure I select the correct layer. So you can see the mask around the car. And now let me just build out one for my bike. And I'm going to just try to get as close as I can to this one. It's good to give it a little bit of space around it, so it's not exactly on target. So, you know, again, I can draw an ellipse around it. I can rub it out. I can use roto brush. Really, how you want to mask it is really up to you.
So you can mask it in any way.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, okay, I'm just grabbing this. Sometimes they also recommend to actually mask, say, sometimes it can be beneficial to mask the object and then the shadow separately. But in this case, it works fine to do both. So here you can see my rough little mask here. Not too bad. So I've got my mask. I might just change the name. So bike mask. Good to know, label things. What I will do is subtract this. So here we've subtracted this out. There's nothing in the background. And you can see over in the far right, you can actually see how it's already blocked this out.
And this is just for the still, like the first keyframe that you have of the clip that you want to remove.
Yep.
So that's just starting at the beginning, like all good stories.
Yeah. So two options available for the range, and it's good to just remember this as well. So you have the entire duration of the clip that you want to, or you can work into the work area itself. So if I go back to this one, my work area is the whole duration anyway. But if I wanted to cut it back, I can just do it for that sort of thing. So here I've done my mask. I've subtracted it. So you need to actually subtract that. So let me make sure. So yeah, I've actually subtracted that. So again, it's punched it through. Right. And now what I will do is go through the mask itself. If I open this up, hopefully you can see this down the bottom. I can always track mask. So I can actually track it to the subject and it will plot it along, or I can do this manually, right? So I think just for this one, just to give it a bit more accuracy, I might just do this one manually. And again, you'll find whatever works for you. You can do it that way. So,
and just, can you explain tracking for people that might not be as experienced in motion editing?
I think maybe a good example is we've got side by side. Let me see if I can change my mask color because you can't see him so well. All right. So you see the car on the left. It's got the mask around it. So the bike hasn't been tracked.
Right.
But the car has. So
it's moving with it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So what we want to do is make sure our mask tracks to it, and then at the end it's going to content aware fill that, and get rid of our bicycle. So I'm going to start with my first key point here, and then I'm just going to move it along, and then we'll do this as quick as I can. Just drag my mask, and it's going to make new keyframes where I see fit. So here you can start to adjust the mask where you think necessary, depending on what happens. Like he might get smaller as he goes away. Really up to you how you want to do this. I'm going to do the short and nasty version, but I think everyone gets the idea.
Yeah.
So here again. So now here's starting to get a little bit smaller. So I can just pull this in a little bit. And then at the end, once we have done our tracking and we're fairly happy with that, we've got all the parts that we need to, I'm going to generate the fill layer, which I'll show you. And that's going to actually do all the hard clone stamping and content awareing and all that stuff. So it is actually working out the before and after frames. That's how it works. So, again, it's working out what was before there on the road or in the frame, and then it's going to fill that in based off that. So, quite handy.
So it sort of reminds me of the clone stamp tool a little bit in Photoshop.
100%.
So it's kind of picking up the information to the right or wherever you choose, and then kind of using the intelligence to fill in the gaps.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of it has been around for a while, and to actually do this in a video is amazing. So here we've sort of done our mask. We're sort of happy with that. It's been tracked around. You can sort of see done a fairly good job. production.
It's pretty good. That was pretty quick.
All right, so now let's hit generate. So I have my fill here, so it's on object. Again, you can see alpha expansion, so I can expand out the mask, so it will pick out some more information around that mask. I've also got here, so I got mask feathering and all that, if so be it. So you can actually, it's really how you want to manage this.
So you can kind of tweak and play with that depending on, I guess, how the camera's shot, how blurry the person is, all that sort of stuff. And so that alpha, what was it? Alpha?
The
top right? Alpha expansion, was it?
Oh, yes.
Kind of like a feathering.
Yeah. So it's just working out, the pixels around that mask.
Right.
And just expanding on that. So I try to, don't push it all the way to the end, make sure it sort of stays towards the end, and then it gives you a bit of luxury to move it forward or back. Okay, so let's hit generate. And so you can see up there, it has created a new layer already. Oops. Completely okay. Hang on. I think I didn't have the right one selected at the time. So
the cyclist is fighting back.
Yes. So let's go part 2. All right. So now I'm building out. You can actually see here. Whoops, it's been aborted. Okay. My bad. Subtract. So as I said at the start, make sure you have subtraction on.
See, that was just a test.
Yes, it was.
Very clever.
Yes. So for those who got through on the pod, we're very good. Okay, so now we've subtracted this out. Let me hear, and you can actually see it now. It's actually going through, analysing this, the tracking of that. And then, so once it does that, then it's actually going to do the content aware in it, so which is quite good. Here, it's creating a new layer, PNGs. So think 25 frames, 25 PNGs.
Right.
Each one retouched. I think on this example, it's 8 megs for one frame. Times that by 25, times that by, say, a 5-second frame, and then you can sort of see how much space
how long it would take and how much storage space you need to consider and rendering time and all that sort of stuff.
Look here, live, it's doing it live. Oh, I haven't caught this bit, but you can actually see how quickly this is sort of working through. So, gone are the coffee cups, gone is the bicyclist. But, and it's doing a fairly rapid job, I think.
So while this is rendering, Festus has a question that I have as well, which is the bike is moving in a really straight line. How labour intensive would it to be on manual to do something like someone is zigzagging all over, like a person at a party, dancing or something like that?
Basically, it'd be more key points.
It's more about you and you following them. Yeah. Okay.
So it'd be more key points. I've seen ones where people have walked in front of like bicycles against the wall.
Right.
And it still remembered the whole bicycle and not distorted it at all. So there are some amazing examples out there. I've seen where they've taken signage off in front of a cathedral. And even though the cathedral's in the background, it's sort of moved across and it still remembered everything behind it and actually pushed that out.
Right.
So really amazing examples, and I'm sure it will get better and better.
Yep. Yeah, okay. Cool. Good questions. And David, that question is probably pretty similar, I think. Just will this work in a crowd scene? Like this scene just has 2 subjects. Obviously, they don't cross over in this example, so they're already isolated. So if it's busy, would this be feasible? I think at the moment, you'd have to try it out for yourself. It depends. It's not going to create like a person in a crowd and animate it behind or anything like that. But I guess it's for good pan shots,
Absolutely. I've got a few examples which we can just have a look at.
We've got
see
some
how
more
far.
examples. Okay, cool.
But, it will go to a limit. Absolutely. The more the crowd, it won't redraw people everywhere. So, but, I think the more we can actually see this. Again, this only came out in April. So it's still relatively new. So people will start to get their hands dirty on it soon. So, which is great.
It's always good to see what the community does with it, and also what they break as well, like how far they try to push it as well, which is always interesting.
I'll just highlight a couple of other things first. So content aware fill settings. So here is where you can actually see where all the fills come through. So you can actually create a path, so you can actually designate where you want that to actually be. Always good to know. Make sure, here it's relative to the project, and I will try to jump on the desktop a bit later and show you where that is, so you can actually see what's involved there. Naturally, you can always go here, reveal and finder. So, let's show it now. There, 8 megs, one frame, 120 PNGs.
So how big? What happens if you open that up just in Finder or something like that? What do we actually have here? Oh, we've just got this like blob.
Yeah,
and that's just going over the top.
So that's
25 frames a second.
So it's done it on that one frame. So if I go up, so you can sort of see as it moves. There it is. So it's just realizing what's on the road in front of it and back, and using that data to do that content aware. So handy.
Yeah,
I would say. But yeah, so that was our first one. Another example here we have is whether this has ever happened before. I'm sure in shooting footage, whether the boom mic or the person, one of the crew actually slips into the frame. So now you can actually see how quickly, just using the object as well, how quickly they remove that person. So I mean, this is so much time. Hopefully you don't have to tell your editor that it's going to how little time it takes.
You don't tell your client.
Don't tell your client. Yeah, that's right. So I think that's super great. Here's another example. This one they've used, and I can show you. If I go down to the bottom, so let me see if I can get rid of this. Okay, so there was a lady here standing on the rocks, and what they did was, because it moves, and what happened when some of the during the content aware process, it got a bit blurry where she sort of met the rocks. So again, this is where you can actually jump in and put a reference frame. So as you can see here, reference frame. So you can create that in Photoshop. And it does it quite simply. So if I did hit create reference frame, it's going to open this directly into Photoshop. What you want to do is paint within this area.
Right.
So use your wonderful clone stamping tools.
Trusty
skills.
cloney.
Yep. I would recommend even to create a layer under that, so that way you make sure you're not actually painting on top of the video layer.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So then that would save that back in here. As you can see here, it has already created this as a reference frame, but I haven't painted anything in it. So let me just remove that.
So this is for when you do the steps that we did before.
Need some
but you need like a little bit more attention. Like it hasn't quite figured it out. So the rocks ended up being a bit blurry on the top in the render.
That's correct. Yeah, just around here.
Yeah.
Got a bit blurry. So basically we've created a reference frame. So that was our first one. So nice retouch job. So you can actually even see, if you go real close, you might be able to see a little bit of the cut. But again, it has been done very well. And then if I turn this off, and then go to my last reference frame, which is here. Once I turn it on, it's just put a few markers in it, and then had the content aware try to work out everything, all the steps in between.
Right.
So again, you can use this on as many masks as you want. So you saw in the first example we had 2 masks going. We could have had both. There are multiple masks, so you can actually use here. This one we have only done the one. So if I took that off. Let me see. You can see here we've got the subtraction of the flagpole. If you want a nice tourist shot, you would almost also get rid of our little tourist right next to it, the flag, saluting the flag. Move that out, push that out, generate a fill layer, and then they would also be gone. Even though this is a pan-in shot, you can actually easily remove them as well.
Get rid of them.
So super helpful. Surface is maybe used, the best way to sort of explain it, surface is, say, maybe signage is a good example. So you can easily move signage against the wall, light switches or whatever it may be against the wall. So you've got one surface. So here our surface will be the grass itself. And what we want to do is actually just remove that. So what it's going to do is pick out all the pixels around that, and then actually make that, so it would duplicate that sort of.
What are we removing? The grass?
No, we're actually going to remove some shadows. So I should show you so you can actually know what has been before and after. So you can see here 2 shadows. So it's a top view. So the tree here, it doesn't look big on the top view, but it does cast a big shadow. So it does sort of get in the way of the people walking. So it's great to get rid of that. And that has been done quite simply using the surface in the fill method. So they use the surface aspect.
Okay.
So super helpful. And then I think they just use manual tracking here. So you can see all the dots.
Cool.
The last one, definitely not least, it's always important to remove logos and branding in video footage, unless they're paying and sponsoring you.
That's why I'm drinking this no-name brand cola.
Yes, hope it's good. So here we have an example. We have a logo that has come through. So here, good thing to note too is that you can actually see as she moves through the frame, right? It starts with the orange hue and the haze coming through,
right?
And then it goes into she goes under a bit of shadow towards the end. So here we've used edge blend. So here it's picking out that there's a surface as well. So but it's just blended out. So it just smooths out that sort of texture around it. So it's picking out all the texture on the gas tank and just smoothing that out a little bit as it sort of moves through. So,
right.
Very helpful. So here they've done a good mask. So if I go to subtract, you can actually see they've tracked the mask here. So as it gets bigger and smaller, depending on how that thing is, and then they've put edge blend and pushed that one out. So very helpful. I've seen logos taken off laptops,
right?
If they have to. Who knows? Tattoos, maybe.
Oh yeah,
never know. The world's the limit. Feel free here. So you can actually see quite a lot has been done on this one. But it looks so beautiful up here. But there's windows taken off the wall, off the wall here. A whole swathe of different options done. So
cool.
So yeah, big new update. I think it's wonderful what they've done here, and I think hopefully it's going to save everyone a lot of time. A good thing to note too is that even though you have created, so let me go back to our car here, you can still throw filters and so forth on top of this layer. So it is a layer here. If you don't think the effect works as well as it could, you can still go in. You see here, color, I might just put that in. So if you wanted to add a bit more grain to the footage or whatever, depending on what happens on the day, you can still add that effect on top of it because it's still a layer. So yeah, just remember that. And then, have fun.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that one's huge.
Yeah.
But maybe doesn't scream as loud, but the people who do like their expressions, this one will. So there have been some general improvements around expressions editor, here. So if I can go down the bottom, it's around the JavaScript syntax. It's got coloring, autofills. There's a whole swathe of different options available here. So here you can have different ways of just managing it a lot more easier. There is the way you can also customize it. So if I go to my preferences, right down to the bottom, scripting and expressions, there are a whole swathe of different options I can actually put down depending on my personal preference. But I think if you do use your expressions, it is quite helpful. Error recognition here. So if I just change this to something else, and I click this off, so I just changed the name, so it's not referencing the layer that it should. So you can actually see here it has, this project contains an expression error. Previously, it'll be like scratching your head, bit of experience. Even if I go down into my expressions editor, you can actually see that it is highlighting my
shows
error.
Shows you the mistake.
Yep.
Awesome.
So then you can fix that before your computer blows up. So, there we go. But yeah, so the two big ones for After Effects.
Yeah.
There is a whole swathe of them as well that have come through. I think we have shared some links, so highly recommend going through that. I think the content aware is exciting in my own graphic nerdy way. So,
absolutely. That's pretty cool.
But yeah, so I think I'll jump out of After Effects now, and I might just go straight into Premiere Pro.
Cool. If you're just joining us, welcome. Thanks for joining Adobe Live. So I'm here with Jason Grant, and we're going through some of the updates that have come through, well, the highlights of all the updates, because you go through the patch notes and there's heaps of changes. But so sort of you've gone through and picked out some of the more useful ones, I think, like the top level highlights that you guys might be interested in. And especially if you're just getting into Motion, I think it's really important to always start out with what's new and what's happening now, because some of those things everyone else has been doing manually for decades.
I really feel for all the people that had to remove objects and so forth.
Yeah.
But that's I suppose why they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all changed now.
Yeah. Okay, so now we've jumped on to Premiere Pro, and there is a whole swathe of, I think, 20 plus different features added, and improvements across that. Plus, I think there's not only features, but there's also bug fixes as well. So it's always important to make sure that it's working strongly across all aspects before you add features. So they're looking at both areas and trying to improve constantly across the board. So we're going to talk about 5 big ones. First one I like the most, is weird, is our freeform fill. Freeform
we did
view.
That. Freeform view, right.
Freeform view. Okay, so here I am in my project window. I'm going to hit my tilde to open this up. So right down the bottom left, under my dock, so you've got the list view, you've got your icon view as well, and now you have freeform view. So here lets you go in and not only scrub and view things, you can add in points, out points as well, simply as well. You can sort of move things around. You can organize this however you think works for you. A whole bunch of wonderful sort of areas that you can actually do. I can go through here, I can change my clip size. So if I right click, I can go down, add different clip size, add my label in, whole bunch here. If I go up and hit my small little menu bar, freeform view options as well. So here I can actually add in different metadata lines so I can see instantly. For me, it's media duration. You want to see how long you've got in a clip, but everyone has their own preference, and there are a lot more hardcore video editors out there that would actually have a better way of approaching this than I
actually really like this, because I'm such a visual creature. Often when I've worked on a big video kind of project and pulled everything, especially if it's something I worked on that I had to come back to later, and I forget the shot, I forget what camera was used, all that sort of stuff. It's nice to actually be able to have it all visually laid out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's kind of file 01, 0.2 date, and now I have to watch it all over again. So it's quite nice that you could arrange it in this way.
Yeah, so you can see here they've sort of arranged the basic scenery views here. Then you've got sort of the bridge aspects as well, top views here. Then you've actually got the close-ups of the guy riding. So, really, as you said, it is a visual way to actually start to approach your projects as well. And hopefully it saves you time in the long end. Great thing here too, if I right click just on, say, the background area, now I also have different options as well that I can actually look at. I can reset to grid. So I have a whole different ways that I can actually do this.
A lot of options there.
So if I just say I want to just name, say bang, you can reset this. But I think one of the better things too is that I can restore my layout. So you can actually save this layout. So if that's the way you want to do it, and it's relevant to the project. So that's really helpful, depending on how people approach these things and how visual they are. Because if you get this right now, then you're going to save time later.
Yeah.
If you organise as much as you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here I can, change the view options. I can scroll around. I can, hit. If I didn't have different areas, I can move it around as well.
This is essentially just like a huge canvas, that we can kind of zoom out.
Create our art.
Very cool. I like it.
Another good thing to note too is that I can select my clips and I can pull them over, and then it's going to push them into a sequence as well. So as you can see here, it has made a new sequence, but this is where you can actually go in and give it your love that you need. If I wanted to, I can double click and it will open this into a source window, and then from there I can put in my in and out points or whatever I feel I need. So super helpful. Hopefully it's going to save everyone a bit of time.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And then I'll just show you a couple of quick examples as well. So again, it's always good to see how other people approach these things. So I think if I go through this one and just open this up, you can actually see here they've already done a rough storyboard up the top, thrown out the excess clips that they don't want. Then I can actually simply scrub through, have a look. I can easily select what I want, then add that to a timeline as well. So super helpful, and hopefully, super time saving.
Yeah, very cool. It's a bit of a cyclist theme going on in our demo.
Yes. Well, hey, it's all about getting healthy and fit. Okay, so I'm going to move to guides now.
So we have a question from Scott in that. Can you specify in and out points?
Yes, sorry. Yep, I can. Let me go back, have a look. So even here, I can actually, so if I go in, zoom, oops. Okay, so here I can hit I, move along, hit O. So you can actually sort of see here the blue strip. So I've made my in and outs just in the visual way of doing it really quickly and easily.
Right.
So which is really great, I think. It's a way you want to work, I think, in the future.
Yeah, great. Good question. Good catch.
Okay, so I think this one doesn't sound big, but trust me, it is.
Okay.
This one got the people here the most excited, and it's guides.
Right.
Simple as one word, guides.
Yeah.
So it's guides, same as Photoshop. Guides, rulers, same as After Effects, guides and rulers. People have had their hacks in the way that they used to do it, however that be. Now you can actually do it now in Premiere Pro. So we're super excited. You can save it. You can share it amongst your team. You can, give it away as a gift. However you want to do it, you can do whatever you want.
Does seem small, but guides are critical, I think, in so much design. So why not motion?
Yes. Well, yeah, exactly. So, okay. Quick example here. So this is just the old safe box, safe margins that was typical. I can go over here to my button editor, and you can see you have two new ones. If I go in, I want to add. Pull him down a bit further. Let's add my ruler and then my guide. So now I can easily click out and in, add my rulers. Hit the wrong button. Add my guides. So these ones I've played with before. So I can do this as quickly, as easy as I want. Command R, or is it Control R?
Oh yeah.
Is it Command R?
Command.
Will be show my rulers as well as Command semicolon. Can also hide or show my guides as well.
And that's very familiar.
Yeah. So we're all talking together and we're all working together. Here I can easily drag across my guide here. I can right click it, edit guide, can add in specific measurements that I have, can change the colors of it depending on what mood hits, vertical, right, left, whole options available. Customize it as much as you want, really. I think is a great way to actually approach it. Now you go, okay, that's great. As long as you're in your program window, then you can actually view your guides. So up here in view, so you can see all the regular culprits, show guides, show rulers, lock the guides, and add guides itself. Add guides does what I did before when I did edit. So it just adds a guide in where I see fit. And then clear guides, but here, guide template. So I've already preloaded a few. So these are the ones 4x3, for a phone, if it have to be. So I have a bunch that have been already preloaded. I can save a guide, as I mentioned before. So save a guide, put a simple name in, and then share that with the team. But I can also import guides, which is what helps if you're going to share it amongst your team.
Yeah.
So
I could save guides that we were using, save them onto a hard drive or whatever it is, the server that we use, or Dropbox or something like that.
100%. So here I'll import one. So I'm going to just pull this caption one in. Hit OK. So that's already came through. So now if I wanted to, I can go into my guides, put in where I want my captions to be standard. And then if I wanted to jump over to here, so you can actually see that the captions sit where they want. And then every instance of whenever I am doing a caption, it works like that. So
yeah, great.
Which is super helpful. So here, if by chance we wanted Sentry to be a caption, so here I got the smart guides, but you can see it's locking into it.
So they snap.
Yeah,
it all snaps. Yep.
Yeah. So again, this is I think overdue, but when it does come through, it's comes through in a good way, in a big bang. So
who doesn't need more guidance? So
yeah. Well, good design is all about sticking within the grid or the frame.
That's right.
And then breaking it.
Scott was saying he loves that you can share guides with other collaborators, and I agree too. I think as much as you can share, I'd be shocked if someone doesn't create like just an entire package of really commonly used guides and just says, hey, if anyone wants to use my guides, here's what I use for my work.
Yeah, because we've already pre-created a few, fairly standard ones. But it's good. Like I think this one would be possibly for Instagram.
Yeah.
But I think once you get that consistency across the team, that's important. And I know everyone used to have their hacks on how they kept things within guides, and they would have your phony layers and so forth. But now,
what was the common one? Phony layers? Is that what people did?
I can't talk for everyone else, but maybe it was my one. I would do a rough graph that I'll put on a top layer, and then I would use that. But yeah,
cool, very good.
So moving along, now we're going into the next one. This is faster mask tracking. Okay. So if I just switch my workspace around, so here you can actually, let's get rid of the guides. Oops. Let me get rid of my guides and my rulers. Don't need it for now. So here we have a mask. So you can actually see the mask there. If I just remove the blurriness, you can actually see there's a faint logo on the shirt. He's not actually moving too much, but it does do a bit of movement. So if I wanted to track this, right, we have here where you can easily hit track, right, and hit play, and it would try to mask and track that as fast as possible. Now we by default turn off the preview. So and I can show you a couple of examples of that and how before and after and how quickly that actually works. So if I hit play here, I'm tracking this. You can sort of see it moves fairly quickly and it's tracked, right? So that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Again, it's a minor tracking that we're doing here. I can add my preview back onto it, and oops, go back to the start. And now you can actually see the difference of how long it is taken. Again, time is money. So, little improvements like that, save a hell of a lot of time. So you can actually go back and then just reframe that. So by default, I understand that it is, the preview is off. So, but I think, you can see why that is so. So
yeah,
I would turn that off. And then back to our cyclist.
He's been busy.
He has. So let me just move him back into frame. So here we have a cyclist. We've done some colour into the background as well. But he's quite dark and muted. So we want to lighten up his face, make him cheerful and happy. He's healthy, so why not? So you can actually, I'm not sure if you can see, if I can go back to our mask, you can actually see that the mask hasn't been tracked.
Yeah.
So here, if I hit without the preview, without the preview, I can easily track that color in, and then that is going to do that very quick. So faster mask tracking.
Pretty cool. There was a question from Scott before, talking about, asking, how long do you recommend the tracked clip should be? So I think, is it CPU intensive?
So we do actually have CPU versus GPU, a filter thing. So CPU, it can be.
Yeah.
I can't talk for everyone's spec. And there are recommendations around specifications.
Yeah, recommendations around specifications. Yes. That rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does. There is, funny you should also say that, there is a compatibility report, which is another one that just rolls off. So also works out how your computer works with your system. So there's different ways that you can actually try to maximize how you do work. So this is a new improvement in your help menu. You can always go through that as well.
Oh, cool. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah. So
something new to play with.
It's one of the new improvements across the board. So we haven't gone through all of them, but there's a whole swathe of them.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so I might just move on to render and replace. This one's a quick one as well. So previously, if you're doing very visual effect heavy scenes, to do a live preview of that, it will take some time. So what you can do now is if you go to the scene that you have, this one we have a few effects. So if I go to my effects, we have a few effects here. There's a bit of warp stabilization. There's some coloring as well done to it. I can basically right click on this. I go up to render and place. It has been around, but I can flatten it, so to speak.
Right.
And then that way, when I'm doing my live preview, I can easily. So if I hit that, okay, it will flatten that, and it will embed your visual effects into it. Right. So you can see that's been rendered. So every time I want to play this back, nice and smooth, makes me happy. But if I had to go back, and give it some more love, I can restore that and then go back and do whatever love I have to.
Okay.
So again, a new improvement, but definitely helpful, especially when you have very, as I mentioned before, visual effect heavy scenes. So there is some options. I think we have supplied a link around this one, so there are different options and caveats around it. So it's good just to see where it will work for you.
Yeah, great. And I think most of those links are in the chat. So if you're on Maestro, all those links are there. And if you're watching the video on YouTube at a later date, maybe we can include those links down in the description below. Yeah, down in the comments, so you can check that out.
Awesome. Okay. Last, definitely not least, is there's graphic improvements that have been done here. So if I go to my graphics workspace here, I have my essential graphic panel open here, and now I just want to go through here. As you can sort of see here, we've got some various outlining that has been done here. Plus there's a white box around the background, various graphics going on here and there. Now, if I select this, you can see here we have a whole new options around the appearance. So you can do 10 different outlines if you need be. So fun fact, this one was requested from Japan. So
cool.
Apparently they like their outlines. So now we all do.
Yeah.
Which is really good. So I'm just trying to see if we can sort of move a bit. It's quite simple. I can go in. Okay, I've got different fill colors that I can add to it. So I don't know what would repulse everyone the most. So a bit of yellow. I can change the stroke weight of whatever I got here. So this one's a blue one. Change the colors. I can add in another stroke if I had to. Let me just pump this one up a bit more. So yeah, stroke weights around text. Then I can still go beat. I don't know, what should I say? Beatbox. I have no idea. Let's just undo that one.
Nothing wrong with beatbox. That's fine.
Yeah, so I can still change this text. I can edit it. I can change the font if I had to. Maybe that would have been a better option to show everyone that it's still live. Actually, that wasn't. But yeah, you can do a whole swathe of stuff. And you can see the little spanner. Hit that. It shows some options as well. So my square miter joints, if I wanted round, I can do that. Really, how far you want to do it. You can actually go up to the top. Oops, where have I gone? Oh, okay. So there, I can make that round. I can go in and if I go to my text properties, I can actually set this up as a sort of default for all new text coming through as well. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, our friends over in Japan have come up with a good idea.
Thanks for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one here is we've got a basic graphic sliding in. You may have done a text on top of a box to do this. This is when you go to that frame. If I hit my Took Adventures text, you can see down right in between us two, we've got the background available. So here I can change this naturally to whatever options I want. So if I hit that, go OK, change that to red. Opacity, really how far you want to do it. So again, when you have text on a busy background, which happens a lot in video, this is a nice simple way to actually do it. Like I can expand that stroke.
And just a great way to play with those lower thirds and titles and everything like that much more quickly and be able to come back and just edit on the fly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hopefully it's all about time saving. But, and then I really want to see where people will take this one. I think there's a lot that can be done with it, which leads to the last one. But definitely one of the important ones, masking. So here we've got our graphic. So let us just show you how that graphic works. So we've got Surfer.
Oh, cool.
Nice little graphic comes up top, and then you can actually see that it groups at the end, and then it goes off. So here we've got our copy. So once I hit our copy here, so you can actually see here the shape itself is the box around the outline box, and then the text itself. So you can see that they've been hit with the mask. So right down in the bottom, I'm hoping I can get out of the way, mask with text. So that's where you would hit that. If I took that off, it goes back to white.
Right.
But mask with text, again, it's masking to the layer underneath. So which is really great. Effects and so forth, you can do so much. Same with the box itself. So you can easily mask text in boxes, have them scroll in and scroll out. I think there's going to be a lot of things happening out of this.
Yeah.
Makes everything a lot more quicker and easy to do with masking. So super helpful. Again.
So can you edit that text?
I can.
You can.
So mellow yellow.
Mellow yellow. That easily.
So there you go. That was a better word than my last one. But yeah, I can change text and do whatever I have to as quickly as possible. And then here we've also got the grouping option as well. So I can go in. You can see here we've got a few different gradients that through here. I can easily grab that and move that around. So you can group things similar to what you would do in Photoshop. You can do that quite quickly now in Premiere Pro, so which is really good. So Essential Graphics, again, really helping with a lot of the workflows. Makes a huge difference as well. So hopefully it's saving all our editor friends a lot of time.
Cool.
Super last one, but definitely a nice one. Previously, if you wanted to import in motion graphic templates, you have to do it one at a time. I can easily pull in my motion graphic templates in a bunch. Oh, yes.
Cool.
All at once. So I can just grab them. And then this is a good way, you can share, especially when you have a new person. You've got a motion graphic template library, which, I've heard it goes up to some broadcast agencies has 400 plus.
Right.
You can just drag these in and then start using them.
Very cool. Like a lot of quality of life updates here.
Yes.
I think that really show a long-term benefit for those that are in the programs quite a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thanks for all the updates.
Yeah, well, not a problem at all. So they're only new, so make sure you're on the latest version.
Yeah, so you need to update in your Creative Cloud, correct?
Yeah, so here, hit your panel up here. You're going to see here, similar, you can actually see there's still nice update, depending on how your IT has set this up. So here, if that has the update option available for individuals that should, you hit that and then it will give you to the latest and greatest.
Cool. Very good. I love it. Lots to play around with. Thank you very much, as always, for digesting all of the patch notes and all the changes and coming to us with all the stuff that we're going to use.
Yeah. As I said, I think this graphic one will show a lot and save a lot of people a lot of time jumping between maybe motion graphic, After Effects, and then doing a lot within Premiere Pro.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, Jason Grant, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
We'll be back for a live stream again next week. Stay tuned in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Going to be back with part 3 of the Creative Challenge with photographer and architect Demis Russley. So please stick around and we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.